Hello, welcome to Pre-Calc Review. Let's go ahead and start with question number 1. We want to find the first 5 terms and state whether the sequence is arithmetic, geometric, or neither. Well, they give us the formula right there, 2n squared plus 1. To find the first term, you just plug 1 in for n. To find the second term, you plug 2 in for n. To find the third term, 3 in. Remember, those sub 1, sub 2, sub 3, sub 4 just means the order in which the terms are. So if I wanted to find the 50th term, you'd plug in 50 for n. You get 3, 9, 19, 33, 51. That would be a neither. For it to be arithmetic, it needs to be added the same amount each time. Geometric, you're multiplying the same amount each time. On number 2, we want to find the indicated term of the geometric sequence. So on this one, we're finding t sub 9. Well, before I do anything, I need to figure out an equation. And to know that equation, I need to know my value of r. Well, I know t sub 1, the first term is 2, and my third term is 18. So I'm multiplying by r to get to the second term, multiplying by r to get to the third term. So I set up an equation, 2r squared, 2 times r equals 18. And I solve for that and I got r equals 3. Well then, I can go and use my equation t sub 1 times r to the n minus 1, plug everything in, and I get 13,122. On number 3, that is an infinite sum because of the dot, dot, dot. That would keep on going forever and ever. My r value here is 1/5. So you just take 100 all over 1 minus 1/5 and you get 125. I want to write this in expanded form. So you're going to do this starting with 1. So 2 times 1, 2 times 2, 2 times 3, 2 times 4, 2 times 5. This tells me where to end. I'm ending when x is 5. Find the amplitude. Well, it's going up 3 and down 3. So the amplitude is 3. The period, how long does it take to repeat? Well, there's one complete cycle right there. The period is pi over 2. Write the following in degrees. You could go about this 2 different ways. You could multiply that by 180 over pi. And simplify it, or you could see if you could find that on your unit circle. Either one works. On number 7, we want to write a sine function with an amplitude of 2, so a equals 2, and a period of pi. Well, they're telling us the period, they're not telling us the b. Remember, our kind of parent function is y equals a sine b theta. That's a theta. So we need to know what b is. Well, period is 2 pi over b. Our period is pi, so pi equals 2 pi over b. Solve for b, and you get 2. So right here is my amplitude. Right there, in front of the theta, is my b. Oh, there's a unit circle in case we need it. If a circle has a radius, looks like I forgot my s there, a radius of 12 and an arc length of 6, what is the measurement of the central angle in degrees? You need to remember that formula, s equals r theta. Plug in what you know. The arc length is 6. The radius is 12. I got theta equals 0.5. That's in radians. I need that in degrees. So I multiply that by 180 over pi, and I got 28.7. And I probably should have put approximately because it is a rounded answer. On a unit circle, the tangent is just your y-coordinate over your x-coordinate. Your sine is your y-coordinate, your cosine is your x-coordinate. How many foci does a parabola have? Well, a parabola only has one focus. Hyperbola has two, and an ellipse has two. All right, write an equation of a circle with a radius of 9 and a center of -2, 5. Well, that'd be x minus -2, which is going to be plus quantity squared. And then y minus 5 quantity squared equals r squared, which would be 9. All right, we want to find the exact measure of the tangent of 5 pi over 3. So let's go ahead and see if we can find 5 pi over 3. It's right here. Well, that would be your y coordinate all over your x coordinate, which when you simplify it is just going to be negative radical 3. So that one is just negative radical 3. The sine of 3 pi over 2. 3 pi over 2 is right here. The y-coordinate is -1. Oops. And the cosine of pi. Keep on going the wrong direction here. Well, pi is right here. The cosine is your x, which is -1. All right, so we want to simplify sine squared theta minus cosine squared theta. Well, go back to your identities, and these will be given to you on your final. We know that sine squared plus cosine, put my square in the wrong spot there. Let's try that again. Sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals 1. So if you look at that closely, if I just multiplied everything there by -1, negative sine squared theta minus cosine squared theta is going to equal -1. All right, on this one, find two angles whose tangent is 3.6. Well, make sure that your calculator is in radian mode. That's going to be the number one mistake. And then you hit second tangent, 3.6. And I get 1 point, and I'm going to round this because it's actually 1.2998. So I'm going to count that as 1.3. Well, that would be in the first quadrant. Right there. We are also going to have another answer that is in the third quadrant. You always make that reference angle with the positive x-axis. So I need to find that measure right there. Well, that's just going to be going from here to the x-axis is pi, 180 degrees, and then you add on that 1.3. So the other one is just going to be 1.3 plus 3.14 and you get 4.43. Yeah, actually, if you round it, you get 4.44. And you could always check yourself by taking the tangent of that. All right. Let's take a second and solve. So on this one, start by subtracting radical 3. And you then are going to divide by 2, and you get sine theta. I don't know if I like my S there. Equals negative radical 3 over 2. Look on your unit circle for where your y coordinate is negative radical 3 over 2, which is right here and right there. So my answer is 4 pi over 3 and 5 pi over 3. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop right there, and then we will add the second half in just a second.